Let's do this. Let's go. Alrighty. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka GLauren33, and I am back here once again with your Monday Night Raw review for September 14th, 2020. This is always the Legit Shoot podcast. As always, guys, thank you guys for joining me here Monday night. As you guys can see, I am in the office, not at work today. I am home, so I want to thank you guys as always for joining me here tonight. And you guys are wondering, Fitz, what was the best part of Monday Night Raw tonight? Was it Keith Lee versus Drew Mcintyre? First time ever on the main roster. Nope. Was it Braun Strowman making an appearance in Raw Underground? Well, last week he was fighting for the Universal Championship at WWE Payback. Now here we are a week later, he is on Raw Underground. What a difference a week makes. Nah, that wasn't the best part of Raw. Was it Kevin Owens versus Alistair Black? Us getting the match for the second time in 2 weeks. We just saw the match last week on Raw Underground. It made no sense there. And here we are a week later getting the match again. Nope. That was not the best part of Monday Night Raw. Was the best part of Monday Night Raw Nia Jax? Yes, Nia Jax was on commentary tonight. She was on commentary with Shayna Baszler. Was that the best part of Monday Night Raw? Nope. Was it Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins for like the 100th time in the last 2 weeks? This time was in a steel cage mask. So what? Every single match that Dominic is in needs a stipulation now. We're just going to go through every single stipulation possible in WWE, right? And then that's what we'll decide. That's when we'll start having Dominic wrestle in normal matches. Yeah, as great as Dominic is, that was the best part of Monday Night Raw, right? Dominic versus Seth Rollins in a steel cage mask? Nope. That was not the best part of Monday Night Raw. Actually, the best part of Monday Night Raw didn't even air tonight. It was a commercial. You guys want to guess what the commercial was? The best part of Monday Night Raw was not the normal Sonic commercial that plays 10 times on repeat, 3 times every hour for Raw. It wasn't the Teddy Bradshaw commercial. They've been advertising for Teddy's new show, which they're showing a special preview right now on the USA Network. It was a preview for SmackDown. Yes, the best part of tonight's show was a preview for SmackDown. It was a 20-second commercial talking about how Sasha Banks, the best female wrestler in the world, the best female wrestler of all time, will be making her return to SmackDown this week. We don't know if it'll be via satellite or it'll be in the arena, in the Thunderdome. No. The best part of Monday Night Raw was the 26th commercial of WWE saying that Sasha Banks will be back on SmackDown to address Bayley's explanation after Bayley turned her back on her best friend. You guys have seen me do videos on this the last couple weeks. I believe we are going to get Sasha versus Bayley at Hell in a Cell. And right now, that is basically pretty closely the only thing I care about on the main roster. Monday Night Raw tonight was absolute dog shit. Let's just get out of the way. It was absolute dog shit. It's the same rinse and repeat matches every single week. The logic doesn't make any sense. We have title matches that have botched finishes. We have new challengers coming out of nowhere while great wrestlers are still back in catering. I'm about to put out an APB for Bianca Belair. We have Selena Vega challenging Oscar for the Raw Women's Championship. But yet Bianca Belair, one of the best female wrestlers in the company, continues to be sitting in catering, doing absolutely nothing. When Selena Vega, someone who's had less than 5 wrestling matches on the main roster her entire career, she's going to be challenging Oscar for the Raw Women's Championship. Someone explain to me how that makes any sense. Any sense. This is Monday Night Raw. This is Monday Night Raw. And the way they advertised Monday Night Raw tonight, they advertised it as Monday Night Raw in your face. In your face. I wish someone could knock me in the face, give me a nice little Big Show KO punch to my face so I could be knocked out and not have to watch this show. For real. It's ridiculous how bad this show gets every single week. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how they continue to outdo themselves each and every single week. Retribution, right? Exclusive to Monday Night Raw. So great. So great. I don't give a shit about Retribution. I don't. I like Mia Yim. I like Kenny Carden. I like Dominic Dijakovic. I like Martinez. So, I don't care about Retribution. They have no direction. They have nothing that I care about. You have them come out each and every single week, give some complex promo about how they're here to go against the system. But yet they've done absolutely nothing to go against the system. It's the same rinse and repeat bullshit every single week. And yet they think this is going to be what gets the ratings back over at 2. At least with SmackDown, there's things that I'm actually enjoying. Like, I enjoy Roman's heel turn about 80% of the time. I love what they're doing with Sasha Banks and Bayley. That should be the feud that carries the company for the rest of the year, all the way into WrestleMania next year. I could do a whole 1-hour podcast just on that. Monday Night Raw has absolutely nothing. Nothing right now. And give me 1 second as I open this window. It's cold. It's hot. Bro, it is hot. It is hot as hell. There we go. Forgive me. Forgive me, but hey. Like I said, Monday Night Raw is terrible. We are 2 weeks away from Clash of Champions, where every single main roster championship is to be defended, and yet there's still titles that we have no idea who their contenders are. Who's going to be challenging Bobby Lashley? Oh, let me guess. Next week they'll do a triple threat or a fatal 4-way between, I don't know, Ricochet, Apollo, Mustafa Ali. Maybe throw the Viking Raiders in there, right? That's how we'll determine who Bobby Lashley faces, right? We're not going to actually build up a contender. Let's just do a random fatal 4-way. This is to determine our contender, because we don't have time to build long-term storytelling, right? Who's going to challenge the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team Championships? Wait a minute. There is no teams in the Raw Tag Team division. There's none. You've broken up every single team in the Raw Tag Team division. So who the hell the Street Profits going to face? Are they going to fight the Ninjas? Are they going to fight Akira Tozawa's Ninjas at Clash of Champions? Seriously. Monday Night Raw is in shambles. At least with SmackDown, there's a little bit of direction. SmackDown is far from a good show. Trust me, it is. But at least there's stuff that I can look forward to on SmackDown. Raw makes no sense to me every single week. You advertised and marketed this show as Raw in your face, right? Because you're so desperate to get attention. Now that the NFL is back, Monday Night Football, right? When you have 30 million people watching the Monday Night Football game, how much is that going to hurt the Monday Night Raw ratings? You're already at all-time low numbers, right? You're averaging a 1.7, 1.8 each and every single week. How much do you think you're going to average when the rating comes in tomorrow? 1.5 maybe? Maybe even a 1.4? With how bad these shows are, I would not be surprised at all. I wouldn't be. It's crazy how bad these shows have become. It's unbearable to watch. It's crazy. If I didn't have this podcast, if I didn't have this channel, if I didn't have this platform, you'd think I would be watching Monday Night Raw. Don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. But either way, we're going to go through Monday Night Raw like always today. Like I said, I tortured myself just to give you guys a good podcast, to give you guys good content. So like always, if you guys enjoy the podcast, make sure to leave a like. Thank you guys for joining me here on the stream, no matter if you guys are watching on stream or on demand via playback. But you guys are awesome, man. We're going to go through Raw tonight. We're going to try to make sense of this show, even though most of it didn't make any sense. But we'll try. We'll try. Just like we do every single week. Because, like I said, there has to be somebody in this community to educate you buffoons. Because then you have fools like Drew Pierce in the chat that give this a 10 out of 10. When this show was a 2 out of 10. And that's me being generous. So, Raw in your face tonight. Raw in your face. So, the show starts off. Drew McIntyre comes out. WWE champion. Dolph Ziggler was on commentary. He started off the night on commentary with Michael Cole and Byron Saxton. I'll say this: Dolph Ziggler does not have a career in WWE commentary in his future. He was terrible. He's just as bad as Byron Saxton. I don't know why Samoa Joe was not there. First off, last week, Tom Phillips was not there. Michael Cole replaced him last week, and Michael Cole was back here again tonight to replace Tom Phillips for another night. I don't know. Maybe Tom tested positive for COVID. Maybe that's why. Because I haven't heard anything on the dirt sheets for why Tom Phillips is out. I don't care. I don't like Tom Phillips. I don't really like Michael Cole that much anyway, but I'd rather listen to Michael Cole than Tom Phillips. For real. But that would be my prediction, because I haven't heard anything about why Tom Phillips is out. I don't know why Samoa Joe is out, but whatever. So Drew McIntyre comes out, and he told the WWE Universe that he was not fully cleared to compete. He refused to heal up and forfeit the WWE Championship. Instead, he would risk his health to stay WWE Champion. Then, out of nowhere, he decided to challenge Randy Orton to an ambulance match. Challenged him to an ambulance match at Clash of Champions. Wow. Could have seen that coming. Right? I don't know why this is going to be an ambulance match. I don't know why I needed a stipulation. Their match at SummerSlam was really good. I still think there was an extra mile they could have gone, but it still was a really good match. I didn't think they needed a stipulation for their rematch of Clash of Champions. And I have I have Randy Orton becoming WWE champion. And then probably we get the third match, the burn-off match at Hell in a Cell, inside Hell in a Cell. Because I think our two Hell in a Cell matches for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, November 1st, I talked this on SmackDown. If you guys didn't know, Hell in a Cell was secretly moved to November 1st because, what I believe, because it was supposed to take place October 24th, but it got moved to November 1st. I said this, I think Hell in a Cell is going to have fans. Because at the end of October is when WWE's contract with the Amway Center runs up. So that means that's when the Thunderdome is set to expire. I haven't heard anything about WWE renegotiating that contract. So what I think is going to happen is they're going to wait till the end of October for the Thunderdome to end. And WWE sees how AEW now has fans in a limited capacity. So I think what WWE is going to do is they're going to have a venue probably somewhere in Florida. All right, and they're going to have a limited amount of fans for Hell in a Cell, which I have no problem. I have no problem with them having fans. Like I said, if they're wearing masks, if they're socially distanced, why not? I'm starting to grow tired of the Thunderdome anyway. I want real fans, for real. I feel like we've reached a point in this whole pandemic, COVID, whatever you want to call it, that we can't have fans in attendance. Things could change. There's still a whole month and a half away. November 1st is a long time away, but I have no problem with that. But either way, the two Hell in a Cell matches I think we're going to have Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, no matter if Drew is champion or if Randy Orton's champion. And for the women, I think we're going to have Sasha Banks versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I think those are going to be the two Hell in a Cell matches. But anyway, Drew challenged Randy to an ambulance match. Like I said, didn't make any sense. That I didn't feel like there was a need to put this stipulation there. But it's there. There you go. It's still going to be a good match. It's Drew and Randy Orton, but the ambulance match stipulation, I feel like is unnecessary here. Adam Pearce came out and arrived to announce that the Viper was not healthy enough to be on the show tonight and may not make it back by Clash of Champions. So they're selling that both Randy and Drew are going into Clash of Champions with jaw injuries because Drew hit 3 Claymores on Randy. Randy hit 3 punt kicks on Drew. All right, we know Randy Orton's going to be there for Hell in a Cell. It's going to be Orton versus Drew unless they change it to like a triple threat with Keith Lee at the last minute. But it's going to be most likely Orton versus Drew at Clash of Champions. Makes sense. It makes sense. So, like I said, Orton's going to be at Clash of Champions. No doubt. But he advised that if Orton could not complete at Clash and Keith Lee defeated the WWE Champion in the main event, Lee would face McIntyre at the pay-per-view. Keith Lee came out. Still, I'm going to keep saying it until it's done. Change his theme song. I will never accept that generic-ass bullcrap theme song you give to him. It's absolutely horrendous. And like I said, later in the night, we would see Keith Lee in a singlet. So not only are they changing Keith Lee's theme song, they had him change his glorious beard, right? One week he's wrestling in vest. I don't know if they changed it because WWE fans were complaining. Because first of all, Keith Lee looked terrible in a vest. But now he's like the Big Show and Andre the Giant out here wrestling in singlets. Just like Keith Lee wrestles shirtless. No one complained about it in NXT. I don't know why we're complaining about it here on the main roster. It's pretty simple if you ask me. The guy should be wrestling shirtless. Enough with this nonsense that they're doing with him. Anyway, Keith Lee came out and he shook hands with Drew McIntyre, setting up the main event for later. There would be more with Keith and Drew later on in the night. Keith Lee would cut a promo talking about how he would do anything he had to do to beat Drew McIntyre tonight to get that WWE Championship opportunity. The way I was thinking about this is, all right, I expected that we were going to see a role reversal. Like, if you guys saw the last couple weeks, we saw Drew McIntyre interfere in the Keith Lee versus Randy Orton matches. I thought we were going to see Randy Orton interfere in the main event with Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre. You know, Randy Orton not only to make sure that Keith Lee could not get into the WWE Championship match, but to send a message to Drew McIntyre. All right? Because, first of all, Drew McIntyre can't lose clean. He's the WWE Champion. Keith Lee isn't supposed to lose at all. You're building him up as the next big main event star on Monday Night Raw. So it doesn't make sense for any of these two, all right, to lose. But we got that ending later on, which we'll talk about later on in the podcast. But I do want to mention that later on in the night, Drew McIntyre was interviewed by Charlie Caruso. Charlie asked Drew about Keith's comments earlier in the night. Drew started talking, but then Keith interrupted him. And then Keith said that Drew should not underestimate him. And Drew says, I don't underestimate no one, and I'm not scared of anybody. And Keith talked about how the only time that Drew didn't interfere in his match, he beat Randy Orton clean at Payback. And Lee said Drew would bask in his glory, even though they were friends. Then Keith started to put his hand out and, close to Drew's back. Drew did not like that. He said, Keith, don't do that one time. Then Keith did it a second time. Drew slapped it down a second time and said, I'm telling you, Keith, don't do that again. The third time, Drew had enough. He slapped Keith and the two started brawling. And that would carry on over into the main event later on. So, like I said, I didn't mind the segment. It just didn't make any sense to me with the whole ambulance match situation. I felt like it was unneeded. It didn't need to be put there at all. There was no need to put an ambulance match stipulation at all. All right. But moving on into the first action of the night, we had champions versus champions. The Street Profits versus Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Raw Tag Team Champions versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I don't know. I don't know why they booked this. You booked it last week. I was hoping this would be a way for WWE to finally merge the tag team divisions because there's no teams on Raw or SmackDown right now. There's absolutely nobody. And remember, at Class Champions, all titles have to be defended. So I'm sitting here like, all right, you first of all, you did that ridiculous stuff on Friday night, making Cesaro and Nakamura look like idiots. If you guys remember, Cesaro and Nakamura were facing Lucha House Party, and then Street Profits were backstage partying with superstars. You had Matt Riddle, which I hate. Hey, how you putting Matt Riddle and Drew Gulak, they're all partying backstage with the Street Profits. Cesaro and Nakamura being stupid heels, look at the screen and get distracted, and then they got rolled up by the Lucha House Party and lost. So clearly, that's probably going to mean the Lucha House Party versus Cesaro and Nakamura at Class Champions. That's probably going to be on the pre-show. All right? And Street Profits have absolutely nobody to face. Garza and Andrade have been broken up once again, which we'll get into in just a sec. They look like they're officially broken up. And there is absolutely nobody on Monday Night Raw for them to face. All right? AOP was released because of injury struggles and other things. All right, what's his name? Ivar the Viking Raiders. He's injured. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Eric's out here fighting alone. So you can't do them. There's absolutely nobody Maybe, you do Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. I mean, not Cedric, Ricochet and Apollo, but they haven't been built up at all. There is legit nobody. The face. This is what's wrong with WWE. They put no care into tag team division. They release tag teams like it's nothing. They break up tag teams like removing bandages. And now you have nobody. Your tag team divisions have never been in such a bad state. Because WWE doesn't know how to build up a tag team division. When they build up a tag team division, they break up all the teams like that. Look at the women's tag team title scene. All the teams, other than the Riot Squad, all the teams that were in the original six tag elimination match when the women's tag team championships were created last year when Sasha and Bayley originally won them in that great elimination chamber match, all those teams are now disbanded. All of them are broken up. WWE's care for tag team wrestling is absolutely abysmal. Even NXT's tag team division is not doing that good right now. Tag team wrestling has never been so low in WWE, and it's such a shame. It really is. And you look at AEW, you look at what the Revival are doing, FTR. This is why they left WWE, and look at what they're doing right now in AEW. If this doesn't tell you that Vince needs to go, I don't know what to tell you. It's sad what's happening to the Raw, not even the Raw, the tag team division in general. There's no care whatsoever. So getting into the match, the heels started off early, blasting Angelo Dawkins with an uppercut. Nakamura isolating Montez Ford. Street Profits did, show signs of life here and there, but the SmackDown Tag Team Champions continue to have the upper hand. All right, but Ford kicked out of a pop-up uppercut, got to his tag team partner. Nakamura was on the outside. Dawkins connected with the cash-out splash on Cesaro for the victory. The match wasn't terrible, but these two teams are way too good. They could have easily gone at least another 10 minutes. This match did not go on long. It was a good wrestling match, but it could have been a lot better. A lot better. And then what? You have the Street Profits when clean. Now what for them? What's next? They have nobody to face. Who are they going to face? I'm serious. I will not be surprised if at Clash Champions they face the freaking Ninjas. Akira Tozawa's Ninjas. WWE will make them into a tag team in the next week. There's legit nobody in the Raw tag team division right now. Absolutely nobody for the Street Profits to face. Street Profits might hold on to those titles for a year just because there's nobody to face. I've been saying this for months now, years now. Merge the tag team divisions. Put all the tag teams under one tag team title. Just one. If you want to bring back the Unified Tag Team Championships, if you guys remember, way back in 2009, 2010, there was two different sets of tag team titles, and then they unified them. So I believe like Chris Jericho and Big Show, and like The Miz, and John Morrison, DX, teams during that era, they won the tag team championships, and then they would come out with two sets of tag team titles. Do that. Do that. You can have tag teams on both Raw and SmackDown, but be able to have the tag team champions go on any brand at any time, just like you do with the women's tag team titles. That's what you need to do. And slowly, as the New Day comes back, the Usos come back, if you ever bring back the Forgotten Sons, all right, and maybe when the Viking Raiders get healthy, bring back these teams, and then just make one tag team division. Just one. And then slowly build back up the tag team division. That's what you have to do. Individual, you don't have any teams on each brand. You have the draft coming up, right? You have the draft. You can have teams on different brands, but merge the tag team divisions. There needs to be one set of tag team titles. It's really that simple. Because what you're doing right now it's horrendous. It really is. The Street Profits are going to face the Ninjas at Clash of Champions. Mark my words. It's ridiculous. You're 2 weeks away from Clash of Champions and you don't even have, legit contenders for 3 of your titles on Monday Night Raw. It's terrible. Terrible. So then moving on. We had Cedric Alexander with the Hurt Business come out for a promo. But before that, Before that, we had a backstage segment. We had Angel Garza flirting with Lana backstage. Who cares? Who cares? But Garza was then confronted by Selena and Andrade, and Selena and Andrade were unhappy because Garza's been walking out on them the last couple weeks, and they wanted to know what was going on. But then, of course, Garza and Andrade, another tag team that you could be using, right? You have them start bickering and arguing like they have been since WrestleMania. Selena decides, I've had enough of this. And then all you see is Garza and Andrade fighting backstage alone. All right, so it looks like, for now at least, Selena isn't broken up. She has gone her own separate way, away from Andrade and Garza. We'll talk about Selena Vega in a little bit, because Selena did do something else on this show, which was very shocking. All right, and even though I love Selena Vega a lot, trust me, I love Selena Vega. She's one of my favorites. She is great at what she does. What they did with her tonight makes absolutely zero sense. Zero sense whatsoever. And it's honestly a slap in the face to people like Bianca Belair. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But no, we had Cedric Alexander in the Hurt Business come out. And basically, Cedric explained why he joined the Hurt Business. He explained that people have been hitting him up on social media, giving him trouble and a bunch of shit for joining the Hurt Business. Cedric explained that he wanted to have protection. He was tired of coming out each and every single week and fighting on behalf of other people. He decided that he wanted to do what was best for his career, all right, and he was tired of being beaten up every single week, potentially taking time off his life and his career that he could be spending with his family and his loved ones. So it makes sense. Cedric cut a decent promo. I like the intensity that was shown here. He talked about how he was done getting beat down week after week. Ricochet and Apollo Crews came out, and Apollo cut a really good promo. I really like the intensity here that Apollo showed. He's been showing a really good amount of intensity this summer. I will say that about Apollo, even though I am worried that he will be back in catering before long. All right, but he's been showing a lot of intensity in this promo, and that's something I wish he always had. I wish it didn't take him this long to develop this kind of intensity. But either way, Ricochet mentions that you turned your back on your brothers, and even though I can't do anything about it now, so that doesn't mean I can't stop you. So basically, then we got Ricochet versus Cedric Alexander. There was a fight on the outside between Apollo and the other members of the Hurt Business. We saw Eric attack Bobby Lashley, and the two brawled to the back. We would get a match between Lashley and Eric later on in the night. But despite the odds being even, we saw Ricochet gets distracted by MVP and Shelton Benjamin. Alexander caught Ricochet with the lumbar check for the victory. All right. So then afterwards, the lights went out, and all of a sudden, Retribution shows up on the screen. And now we clearly had a pretty clear visual of who's in Retribution. There was 5 main members, and it was the same 5 main members we've been seeing the last couple of weeks. And someone retweeted. I have it right here. Hold up. Let me just load this up from my Twitter real quick. So here we go. Basically, I want to say thanks to my boy Danny, DA Joe, SC11 on Twitter, for sending me this over for the podcast. He said, during a segment on Monday's edition of Raw, there were 5 vocal members of Retribution, with 2 having speaking roles. Pro Wrestling has been told the identities of the 5 key members, even though if you have eyes, you could clearly see who it was. But Pro Wrestling has been told the identity. I see the chat. You guys hear a little bit of an echo. Hold up real quick. Let me see. How does it sound now? Is that I believe the echo's gone, right? Let me see. Actually, I think I sound better now. All right, thank you guys in the chat for letting me know about the echo. Gone, right? It was I had the OBS settings duplicate. My bad. My apologies. All right. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. So the 2 speakers on Monday Night Raw were Dominic Dijakovic and Mercedes Martinez, while the other 3 standing behind them were Dio Madden, Mia Yim, and Shane Thorne. And they do sometimes use some extras in these segments. Those are basically like the 5 key members of Retribution. But it was also like told to us during this promo that it was established that the group was at the Performance Center. But here's the thing. This doesn't make any sense. You have these 5 members of Retribution who clearly, unless you're a freaking casual who doesn't watch NXT, we know who these 5 members are. Dio Madden, Dijakovic, Martinez, Mia Yim, and what's the last one? Shane Thorne. And plus you see Caden Carden in there sometimes. Here's the thing. We've seen Mia Yim on NXT just last week. We just saw Martinez go up against Rhea Ripley in a really good steel cage match last week on NXT. So you have them out here in this promo talking about how they were cast to the wayside, all this complex philosophical bullshit, talking about all this nonsense, right? They're talking about all this nonsense, and then you're going to have them on NXT the next week. So what's the point? They're talking about how they were promised to become stars and how other people stole their opportunities from them. But yet, we're still seeing them on NXT every single week. Hello? Does that make any sense? Whatsoever. Yes, I'm happy that Retribution is finally on the mic. And they're not just doing their stupid attacks. But they have no direction right now. They have absolutely no direction. It makes 0 sense to me. Where are they going? What's their end game? What's their goal? Do they want to take over the company? Do they want to be in charge of Monday Night Raw? Or do they want to just cause havoc? Or is it something completely different? Stop giving me the same rinse and repeat promos. Talk about all this complex bullshit. Being thrown to the wayside. Cast like outcasts. I don't care. I do not care. All right? Give me a reason. Give me a goal. Give me a direction, an objective, something that I can latch onto and actually get invested in. Because right now, I don't care about this at all. You've done nothing to make me have any interest in Retribution. And by each and every single week, it gets worse and worse and worse. I have no care for Retribution right now. And the thing is, I like Caden Carden. I like Dominic Dijakovic. I like Mia Yim. But I don't care about this story. You've done nothing to make me care about this story. It's terrible. And until you give me an objective, I'm going to keep saying the same thing every single week. All right. Anyway, the Hurt Business, they were interrupted by Retribution with the lights gone off. Then backstage, the Hurt Business told Adam Pearce that they would take care of Retribution for a price. So, of course, Retribution, they're about hurting people and money. Kind of makes sense here. All right. Next up, in what was... I don't know what the fuck this was. I don't know what this was. We had a Raw Women's Championship match with Oscar and Mickie James. Before the match, Mickie James was interviewed backstage and talked about how she was willing to go out there and put everything on the line because she thought this could potentially be her last championship match ever. I love how we have... I just want to give a quick shout out to Sal Reacts in the chat. For those of you guys watching live, Sal Reacts is the guy who makes all the layouts that you guys see here on the podcast, the Raw, the SmackDown, the pay-per-view layouts. He's a really good guy, so if you guys ever need any graphic design needs, make sure to hit him up. He's a really cool guy, so good to see Sal Reacts in the chat. But Sal Reacts says, love the fact that Drew and Keith are supposed to be best friends so much you built up the Keith Lee versus Randy shit at Payback on that. WWE acts like we forget that happened. Now they're talking shit at the beginning of Raw like nothing. Like I said, WWE's always insulting our intelligence. They do something one week and then they expect us to forget the next week. I said this on SmackDown. Naomi pinned Bayley clean 2 days before SummerSlam. 2 days before SummerSlam in that Beat the Clock challenge with Sasha, Bayley, and Naomi. Bayley got pinned clean. But then 2 weeks later, we have a fatal 4-way match to determine Bayley's contender for Clash of Champions, Naomi is nowhere to be found. They say Naomi's going to get a push. She gets a push right back to catering. I guess it makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. WWE always insulting our intelligence. Absolutely ridiculous. But back to Mickie James. Mickie James talked about how she was ready to go out and put everything on the line because this could potentially be her last Raw Women's Championship match ever. The way that she went out and wrestled this match, it definitely should be her last Raw Women's Championship match ever. I've been saying for the last 2-3 weeks that we should not be getting this match at all. I have no problem with Mickie James. She is a legend. She's done great things for the women's division. She had a really great match with Oscar back at NXT TakeOver a couple years back when Oscar was a 500-day NXT Women's Champion. But at the end of the day, Mickie James should not be wrestling for Raw Women's title, for any Women's Championship in 2020. Instead of building up people like Bianca Belair, who are sitting and catering, you choose to do Mickie James. I at least expected this match to be good. And I did read reports that the original match, the original plans for Clash of Champions were supposed to be Asuka versus Shayna Baszler, but those plans changed when we had Shayna and Nia win the tag team titles. But now I thought they were going to do a match tonight, and maybe Mickie turned heel. It kind of makes sense. Mickie, she does have that crazy side of her character. So I was thinking maybe we'll see Mickie turn heel, and that was possibly set up a rematch for Clash of Champions. But at the end of the day, no, that's not what we got. Instead of getting a good match, we got an absolute terrible match. I don't know what happened here. I don't know what happened here at all. All right. So basically, Mickie wasn't even selling Asuka's kicks correctly. Mickie's offense looked weak as hell. Then we saw Asuka do a devastating back elbow. Then after that, I don't know if Mickie, maybe had some kind of concussion. I don't know what happened. But we saw Asuka put Mickie in the Asuka lock. And out of nowhere, Mickie was not even selling the Asuka lock correctly. Wasn't even selling it. Like, it didn't even look like, it was strapped in all the way Mickie was selling it. Mickie reversed it I don't know if it was supposed to be a pin combo or what. But if you look at a replay, it looked like Mickie tapped out a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the referee called for the bell. And then, Mickey's looking at the ref like, huh? What's going on? Like, the match when he went maybe like 5 minutes, I thought they could have at least gone 15 to 20, because like I said, Asuka and Mickie James have put on a really good match in the past. I just have no idea what happened here. No idea. Mickie seemed like she had no idea, Mickie looked like she thought the match was supposed to go on longer. I don't know if Mickie suffered a head injury. I know if you guys saw AEW All Out with what happened with Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy, after he suffered that concussion, maybe somebody backstage saw this and saw Mickie suffer a head injury and they decided just to call it there. I don't know. If we get news on that, I'll talk about it later on in the week. But this did not look good at all. I don't want to say Mickie got buried like Edward said in the chat. We don't know what happened. I know for a fact that's not how Mickie wanted that match to go. I know that's not how Asuka wanted that match to go. These two have had a really good match in the past at NXT TakeOver. So I know for a fact that they probably want to, find some of that magic again. And maybe if they got a chance down the line, they could, duplicate that. But still, this was bad. But like I said, first of all, Mickie should have never been put in this position to begin with. It didn't really make any sense for Mickie to get a title shot to begin with. And then what happened after the match, not only was the finish botched, the finish was botched highly. The match wasn't good, the finish was botched, but what happened after made no sense. So out of nowhere after the match, Selena Vega comes out, right? Selena Vega is beautiful. I love Selena Vega. And now it looks like she has her own theme song. So Selena comes out, she cut a really good promo. At first, I saw Selena, and I was like, is she the same height as Oscar? Because Selena, if you see her wrestle, she's very short. Very short. But clearly, Selena was wearing some long heels. But she told Oscar that she was done wasting her careers on ingrates like Andrade and Angel Garza, and she said that she wanted gold. She said that Oscar had been a terrible champion, giving title shots to anybody, especially old people like Mickie James. And she also went back on, talk about how Becky handed her the title. Even though I'm tired of hearing that. Legit, Oscar's been the Raw Women's Champion other than the sad... as great as I love Sasha Banks, Sasha held that title for 4 weeks. Not even 4 weeks. All right. Other than the sad 4 weeks that Sasha had to hold the championship just to lose at SummerSlam, Asuka's been the champion basically since May. So she's been the champion all summer. So, I'm kind of tired of hearing her, talk, or hearing people in general talk about how Asuka was handed the title. Like, stop with that. And she's held the title since May all the way now to the fall. So she held it from early spring all the way through the summer. Doesn't that count for something? And it's Oscar we're talking about here. But Selena said that she wanted the challenge for the gold. And then she slapped Oscar and walked away. Look. You guys know this. For you guys that watch the podcast every single week, I love Selena Vega. I really do. She is beautiful. She is great on the mic. And she's actually underrated in the ring. The reason why people don't give her much credit, because she has like a nice little luchador style to her offense, is because she's very small. She's probably, I think she's the smallest person in that locker room. She's really tiny. She's fit. She's the wife of Alistair Black. She's a badass, but she's just not that big. And you haven't built Selena Vega up at all. She's been busy managing people's career for the last 3-4 years. She's been managing Andrade and Angel Garza and Austin Theory for the short time that he was on the main roster. Now, all of a sudden, you expect me to believe that Selena Vega is worthy and ready to challenge for the Raw Women's Championship? When you haven't built her up? When we've seen Selena in the ring, you've buried her to Bianca Belair and other people in less than 5 minutes? Now, all of a sudden, you expect me to believe that Selena Vega is ready to challenge for the Raw Women's Championship? You expect me to believe that Selena could be the Raw Women's Champion? Like I said, I love Selena Vega. I would love to see her be built up. I would love to see her become a challenger for the Raw Women's Championship. But it doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to sit here and just say I approve of this because I love Selena. I got to be objective here. It makes no sense for Selena Vega to challenge for the Raw Women's Championship. None. When was the last time she won a match? Could you have her actually win some matches, get some wins under her belt, build her up correctly like a challenger should be, and then we could talk about Selena Vega challenging for the Raw Women's Championship? But no, you just what? Because you have nothing else for Oscar right now? Where's Bianca Belair? I'm getting sick and tired of this. I love Selena Vega. I love Bianca Belair. I love Asuka. Those are my 3 favorite women on the Raw roster. I love all 3 of those women. But where's Bianca Belair? Seriously. This is maddening. I've been saying since Bianca was brought up after WrestleMania, you need to spend the entire year building up Bianca Belair. Because I think Bianca Belair should be the one to win the Raw Women's Championship from either Oscar or Shayna Baszler. All right, you need to build up Bianca Belair. Instead, we don't see her on TV. She's nowhere to be found. The only time we see her is when she makes a 2-minute appearance to beat the hell out of the iconic Selena Vega. That's it. This is what I'm talking about with WWE. You have one of the best women's wrestlers in the entire company sitting in catering most weeks. But yet Selena Vega, who's never in the ring, who's wrestled less than 5 matches on WWE TV all year, challenging now for the Raw Women's Championship. Like, what? How are you going to make me believe that someone like Selena Vega can defeat Asuka? Because they're going to probably do the match at Clash of Champions. I don't know. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to see Selena Vega as Raw Women's Champion. I love Selena Vega. I really do. But it makes no sense. No sense for somebody like Selena Vega, who was a manager for the last 3 years, just to, out of nowhere, be put as the number 1 contender. When you have someone as good as Bianca Belair not being used on WWE TV. Like I said, Charlotte's not there right now. Becky Lynch is not there right now. What about all these other, women you're not using? You should be using this time to actually build up people. Because Charlotte is going to be back before WrestleMania. I don't know if Charlotte will be back this year, but Charlotte will be back before WrestleMania. Trust me. And Charlotte will be in the Raw Women's Championship picture. And remember, we have the draft coming up next month. We don't know what's going to happen. We remember, Becky Lynch, when Becky Lynch comes back, she's coming right after that Raw Women's Championship. And I still also believe that one day Ronda Rousey will be back. There's been rumors that Ronda Rousey might be trading for a WWE return. Even though I don't think that's true. But you never know. You never know. This is the time when you should be building up new stars. You should be. And like I said, I don't mind like Zelina being built up. But this is not the right way to do it. This is not the way to do it. Selena Vega, as much as I love her, should not be challenging for the Raw Women's Championship right now. Build her up. Let her get some wins under her belt. It makes no sense for someone that was just managing to go from managing one week to challenging for the Raw Women's Championship in the next week while Bianca Belair is in catering. Makes no sense. No sense. Because when Charlotte comes back before WrestleMania, when Becky comes back before WrestleMania, when Ronda Rousey comes back before WrestleMania, Bianca Belair, you think she's going to come out of catering then? No. This is the time you should be building up Bianca Belair. This is your best chance. When are you going to have an opportunity to... When are you going to be presented with an opportunity like this again? This company, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. Celtics fan says, don't be surprised if WWE trades Bianca Belair to SmackDown for Mandy Rose to Raw. Okay, I see what... I like that. I like that because if you guys didn't know, secretly Mandy Rose was traded to Monday Night Raw. Look, I don't really understand it. I don't know why. It's not that I'm against the move. I don't really care. But I don't understand why you're moving Mandy Rose over to Raw. Especially when there's supposed to be a WWE draft next month. If you wanted Mandy Rose on Monday Night Raw, why can't you just wait till the draft next month? Unless you have plans for her now. Which I highly doubt. I highly doubt that you have any plans for Mandy Rose. But if you put Bianca Belair on SmackDown, I'm not totally against it. I do like... Heartbreak Kid Rockstar says, who they trade Mandy Rose for? We don't know. I'm on the bet WWE doesn't have anybody that they traded for. Maybe it could be Bianca Belair. Who knows? I'm not against it because, hell, Bianca Belair versus Bayley, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. Take my money. But still, I would want a Bianca Belair Sasha Banks feud to be put at something like a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam. Not on a random edition on SmackDown, because we know how WWE is. There's nothing special in WWE these days. But I don't know. I really don't know. It's sad. It's sad. It really is sad. I see my boy Anthony in the chat. Shout out to Anthony, man. You guys, if you guys don't know who Anthony is, he used to be the co-host of the Legit Shoot podcast with me. He used to be my co-host. He doesn't watch anymore for obvious reasons, because WWE's trash, and I don't blame him one bit. But, he likes to make some, small 5-second appearances every once in a while. So good to see you here for the 5 seconds you're in here, bro. But getting back into it, terrible. Absolutely terrible. All right, moving on. We'll see what happens with Selena and Oscar. I'm not saying it can't be a good match, because like I said, I think Selena is very underrated in the ring. It makes no sense. Build up Bianca Belair, please. Watch, we won't be see Bianca until Survivor Series, because remember, Survivor Series is coming up at the end of November. We're going to have 2 pay-per-views in November. We're going to have Hell in a Cell November 1st, and then Survivor Series at the end of November. So that's when we'll see everyone come out of catering. Anyway, we had Bobby Lashley versus Eric. This was set up after Eric brawled with Bobby Lashley earlier in the night during the Ricochet and Cedric Alexander match. MVP joined... Michael Cole and Byron Saxton on commentary. This was great. This was great. MVP on commentary. I could get used to this. I would love. Give me MVP and Samoa Joe on commentary every single week. I don't care if it's Tom Phillips or Michael Cole. Take it away. MVP was great on commentary tonight. Way better than Dolph Ziggler was in the first hour. Way better. But Bobby Lashley took care of Eric in about 5 minutes. The match was nothing special. Nothing special at all. But Lashley got the win with the Hurt Lock. That was about it. Next up, we had Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in a steel cage match. All right, here we go. So before the match, we saw Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy inside the locker room. Seth said that he had a mission for Buddy Murphy tonight, and that mission was for him to stay inside the locker room so he wouldn't be a distraction. Seth then slapped Buddy Murphy 3 times, choked him up against the locker room, and, grabbed him by the neck and asked him if he understood. Seth once again bullying Buddy Murphy, basically making Buddy look like his bitch. All right. He asked Buddy if he understand, and Buddy said, I understand. So getting into the match. This match was really good. This was easily the best match on Raw. My problem is 2 things. It's time to move past Seth and Dominic. We've seen it how many times now? No matter if it's Seth versus Dominic or Seth versus Ray, or if it's Dominic versus Buddy Murphy or Ray versus Buddy Murphy, we need to move past this. Like I said, WWE is rinse and repeat. It's coming to the point where every single week they're deciding to put Dominic in some kind of stipulation match. It feels like they're going to go through every single stipulation in the books before we actually see Dominic wrestle normal matches. Because if you think about it, we haven't seen Dominic in a normal one-on-one match. We've seen him in tag team matches. But outside of that, we've seen him in, no holds barred. We've seen him in street fight. Now we've seen him in steel cage. And yes, these matches have been good. And Dominic's been very impressive. And I like the way they're building Dominic up. He's going to have a bright future. Like I said, I would not mind. I think, Houston, honestly, once Ray gets healthy, put Ray and Dominic in the Raw Tag Team division. Clearly. I would not have no problem with them going after the Raw Tag Team titles. You need more tag teams. You need tag teams more than ever right now. I would have no problem with you guys putting Ray and Dominic in the tag team division. It makes no sense that they're still doing this feud. You're gonna go through what? Last man standing match, I quit match. What other matches are there? Like what? Falls count anywhere? Like how long do we get a parking lot brawl? Candlestick on a pole match? Like for real. I'm getting tired to see it. Even though the matches are good, it's time to move past this. It's seriously time to move past this the Ray, Seth, Dominic feud. You can't do it anymore. WWE knows how to bury something into the ground. They really do. It's going to come to a point where you can't do the stipulation matches with Dominic and Seth every single week. It's time to end this. Time to end this for real. So, we saw the match. The match was good. Dominic. I'm getting a call. The call. We had Ray and Dominic. They had their family at ringside. Murphy tried to redeem himself. He came out with a kendo stick, and Dominic stole the kendo stick and battered Rollins with it. Remember that, because that will come into play later on. Dominic attempted to escape the cage, but Murphy attacked Ray at the entrance door. In the confusion, the disciple blasted the Messiah with the cage door. So, Murphy was trying to help Seth by keeping Dominic from escaping, but instead, he did damage to his disciple. Like I said, this would play into later on at the end of the match. Murphy managed to stop Dominic from escaping afterwards from the top of the cage. Rollins kicked out of the frog splash. Unsure how to finish off Rollins, Ray's sons ran into a pair of stomp. So, I liked, they're going with Dominic still being a little bit inexperienced, not knowing fully how to handle these types of situations. He ran into a pair of stomps, which gave Seth the win. Then we saw Rollins taunt the Mysterios on his way out. But then out of nowhere, when it looked like he was about to embrace Buddy Murphy once again, he attacked Buddy Murphy before leaving, throwing him to the barricade and the cage, leaving him down on the floor. So I do not know if this is the end for Rollins and Murphy. I don't know. This could be just Rollins being frustrated, but I feel like the way they're going with this, it's not going to be Ray or Dominic that gets the ultimate payback on Seth for everything he's done. This is a story, remember, this is a story that has been going on since WrestleMania. I feel like what's going to happen is, especially remember, and I've been saying this every single week, Becky is due in December. That is less than 3 months away. 3 months away. They're going to write Seth off television. Eventually. I think Hell in a Cell would be the perfect time. I would not be surprised if at Hell in a Cell we see Buddy Murphy versus Seth Rollins. Not inside Hell in a Cell. I don't think that's a match deserving of Hell in a Cell. But I think we'll see the match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And then I think this is going to lead the Buddy Murphy turning face. Going to turn into a baby face. All right. Turning on Seth Rollins. Getting the ultimate payback because Seth has belittled Murphy for weeks now. All right, and especially what happened tonight. Murphy's going to go frustrated at some point. He's going to go frustrated and be like, enough of this. I'm not going to stand around and be your bitch anymore. And then he's going to turn on Seth, and then Murphy will get payback on Seth and probably write Seth off of television. You know, that will help Murphy in the long run. It'll make him into a bigger star for being able to take out somebody like Seth. And then it'll write Seth off TV since he'll be focused on being there with Becky and the birth of their child, God willing, in December. And then we'll probably see Seth back before WrestleMania. But that's where I think it's going. The story is not going to be ending with Seth and Dominic. It's going to be ending with Buddy Murphy. That's why I'm going to end this. All right? I'm tired of this. I think Buddy and Seth is going to be a great match. Like I said, Buddy Murphy is very, very underrated in the ring. And there was, to point out, thank you NBA YouTube for mentioning this. At the end of the match, there was a very small thing. Ray's daughter, I don't know, was it Angie? I don't remember her name. But at the end of the match, we did see Ray's daughter briefly ask Murphy if he was okay. And remember, I don't know what to make of this, because you guys remember last week, the Raw ended with the entire Mysterio family beating, absolutely destroying Murphy with kendo shots. Now here we are 1 week later, and now, Ray's daughter is now trying to comfort Murphy. I don't know what's that supposed to mean. If that, something's going to happen down the line, I don't know. But, it is important to note that. It is very important to note that. So, we'll see what happens, but I do think, this is going to move into more Buddy versus Seth, because it's time to move away from the Dominic and Ray versus Seth situation. Like, it's over. It's pretty much over. Anything we see now, it's just, it's just really, no, it's just that you're not being creative. As good as the matches are, we've seen it enough. It's time to move Dominic on to something else. But moving on, let's go to Raw Underground. Yay! Raw Underground. So basically, Dolph Ziggler left commentary before Raw Underground started. He was fighting some poor fool, right? Fighting some poor fool and beat him. And then he got into a fight with Riddick Moss. Out of nowhere, the match went to no contest because Braun Strowman, yes, the monster among men, Braun Strowman, decided to interfere and taking the ring and refusing to give it up. So, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, Braun Strowman, he was the Universal Champion a couple weeks ago, right? Going to SummerSlam, he was the Universal Champion. And now, 2 weeks later, he's on Monday Night Raw. So what? Did WWE think bringing Braun Strowman over from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw, that was going to be the key? That was going to be the thing that rose the ratings? That was going to be what brought the ratings up to over a 2? And you would help them, be able to make it past the Monday Night Football games. Yeah. Great decision there. Great decision. Braun Strowman's not the answer. Raw Underground is not the answer to the terrible Monday Night Raw ratings. It's not at all. It's nowhere near the answer to the Monday Night Raw ratings. It's horrendous. All right. But anyway, like I said, when WWE gets a 1.5, maybe they'll finally realize this, but they probably won't. They probably won't. We know how WWE works. Right? So, basically, we saw Strowman, he took out Riddick Moss. He took out Dolph Ziggler. Titus O'Neil stepped into the ring with the Macho Among Men, and he was actually able to land some hits on Strowman. Took him down briefly, but Strowman got back to his feet and knocked out O'Neil clean. Then we saw Ziggler and Moss keep attacking Strowman once again, but Strowman once again laid them out with running power slams. You know, those things, I'll say this, those things look like they hurt. Like that Raw Underground, I don't know what they used, but when you get slammed on there, that has to hurt a lot. Like, geez, it sounds so loud. But then we see Dabba-Kato. He stepped up to Strowman, and Shane McMahon said that these two would fight next week. So, next week, Braun Strowman will be back on Raw Underground to go up against Dabba-Kato. Can't say I'm excited because I'm not. I'm against Raw Underground. Excuse me. I'm still against Raw Underground. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not going with this concept at all. At all. Or like, for real. Anyway, moving on. We had Alistair Black versus Kevin Owens. Alistair Black versus Kevin Owens. Before the match, Kevin Owens was interviewed backstage, and he said he still had no idea why Alistair Black attacked him, you know, but he said that he's going to give Alistair Black such a bad beating that he'll think twice before challenging him again. So, I don't know if you guys noticed, Alistair Black has a new look. You know, if you guys remember, a couple months ago, there was reports going out about Vince McMahon thinking Alistair Black needed more edge. Oh, Alistair Black, man, he needs more edge to him. More edge, man. He's missing something. No, he's not. He was never missing anything. It's you that was missing something. It was you, Vince McMahon, that's been missing something the entire time. Vince McMahon, you've been missing something for the last 5 or 6 years, my friend. And you need to leave. Because what you're doing right now is not, you're just murdering your company week by week. So basically, Alistair Black now, you know, he comes before his matches, he wears a headband over his eye. Now he's wrestling in black leather pants. Yeah. I miss the Alistair Black from NXT. I really do. It's sad. It's sad what's happened to Alistair Black, bro. Now he's out here wrestling in black leather pants. Remind me of Fandango. Remind me of Fandango, bro. So basically, Alistair Black ambushed Kevin Owens from behind before the bell. Then we saw him continue the assault after getting to the ring. KO barely got any offense in early. And Alistair Black locked in a knee bar. KO did a really good job of selling the leg injury here. Owens pulled out a surprise super kick. The lights flickered with distracted Black. And because of that, it looked like Black had the win. But when the lights flickered, he got distracted, which led to him running right into a stunner from KO. And when the lights went back on, KO got the 3 count. So KO gets the victory here. But what does this mean for Alistair Black? Like, Vince, you wanted Alistair Black to have more edge. You need more edge. Oh, you need more edge. Black leather pants. Headband. Eye patch. Edge. Yep. He needed edge, all right. Yep. Needs some edge. So great for Alistair Black. So great. Fucking horrendous, bro. This was horrendous. The match wasn't bad, but what does this mean for KO and Alistair Black? Where did they go now? Do we see a rematch next week because the lights flickered? Jesus, bro. There's no direction. No direction. KO and Alistair Black should be fighting for titles. Honestly. Alistair Black should be a babyface fighting for the WWE Championship. So should KO. Instead, they have no direction. No direction, man. This is sad. So sad. Moving on. The Riot Squad versus Natalya and Lana. This match lasted about 2 minutes. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on commentary. I'm still not a fan of this team. And I like Shayna Baszler a little bit, but you guys know how much I detest Nia Jax and how awful she is in the ring. She is terrible at her job. She should be out advertising McDonald's, not wrestling in a ring. And Nia Jax on commentary, I muted my TV. Legit. I muted my TV. Nia Jax is that bad. I do not want to hear her on commentary. It's bad enough watching her in the ring. Then it's hearing her voice. Like, I just can't stand seeing her and Shayna as a team. For real. It makes no sense. But anyway, there was a pre-match tape promo from the Riot Squad where the challengers made it clear that they were the true team, unlike Nia and Shayna, and that they would win the Clash of Champions using teamwork at Clash of Champions. So the match, basically the match was over in 2 minutes. Natalya never got tagged in. Not that I care, but Lana basically got Lana hit a code breaker on Lana, and my bad. Liv Morgan, my bad. Liv Morgan hit a code breaker on Lana, and then Ruby Riott hit a ride kick. One quick thing, if you guys haven't seen, Lana has 2 new shirts on the WWE shop. They actually look pretty cool. Not Lana. Sorry, why do I keep saying Lana? Liv Morgan has 2 new shirts on the WWE shop. They actually look really good, like really good designs. I just want to say, I like Liv Morgan. I do. But how does Liv Morgan have better merch than Sasha Banks? Just saying. Just saying. The best female wrestler in the world. Liv Morgan has better merch than Sasha Banks on WWEshop.com. That's not right. We need to fix that. We need to fix that. Anyway, after the match, Baszler choked out Lana and then threw her to Nia Jax, who sent her through an announce table with a Samoan drop. Nice. Nice. Beating up Lana is supposed to make me care about you. Beating up the worst female superstar possibly of all time is supposed to make me care about you. Great job, WWE. Great job. Anyway, that was about it here. All right. Like I said, I expect the Riot Squad to get the victory here. I don't believe in Nia and Shayna as a team. I don't care about them. And I still think we're eventually going to get Shayna versus Oscar for the Raw Women's Championship, but I could be wrong. But I have the this was a waste of time. It really was. All right. It really was. But I had the Riot Squad winning at Clash of Champions. Anyway, getting into the main event. So, I don't know. So, Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, and Sariak said this earlier when he was in here. He said that, Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre, who WWE has built up as friends, and now what? They start brawling with one another, and now they come into this match as rivals. I don't know. The match wasn't terrible. But you could tell that there was not going to be a conclusive finish. I thought that Randy Orton would be returning in this match, probably the RKO Lee or something like that, but no. So getting into the match, these two went at it. It was hard hitting, but I know these two have a much bigger ceiling. So Drew went for an early Claymore kick. Keith Lee ducked it. McIntyre jumped out of the spear bomb. Then the two hit each other with running crossbodies. We come back from break, and Retribution out of nowhere hits the ring and attacked both McIntyre and Lee. So I knew the match was not going to finish cleanly, but Retribution, nice. So what? Anytime you don't want to have a conclusive finish to a match, just call on Retribution, right? Do the stupid lights flickering and then have them appear. Because we just saw Retribution do the same thing. Like, what was it, last week or the week before? Remember in the tag team match with Dominic and Ray versus Seth and Murphy? Didn't Retribution interfere in that match? Like I said, I still don't understand where Retribution's going. Still don't understand what the end game is here. All right, but they attacked McIntyre and Lee. The commentary team went silent as Retribution took the ring. But then the Hurt Business came out. They were wearing their nice suits. Then they took them off, and they started brawling with the Hurt Business. All right? And the Hurt Business was actually taking out Retribution. And this was like, 4-on-10 maybe. And they're actually taking out the Retribution members. So, great job making Retribution look dominant. Great job. Right? And then out of nowhere, we saw Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre. They got back up and did suicide dives, taking out Retribution as we went off the air. So I'm not, the ending wasn't anything special. I'm just like, okay, what's next? Where are we going here? I'm still trying to understand Retribution's end game. What? Maybe they'll hold all the titles? Give me something to care about. Give me some kind of direction, please. That's all I'm asking for is direction. This attack means nothing. It really means nothing. Because what? They're going to go back and cut the same promo next week. There's no direction. If you're not going to give me a direction or a roadmap, why should I give a shit? Why? It's that simple. You're not going to give me any direction with this group. I'm not going to care. It wasn't a terrible ending to the show, but the show overall was terrible. And like I said, the best part of Monday Night Raw tonight was the commercial promoting Sasha Banks' return to SmackDown to confront Bayley, which I cannot wait for because I expect Sasha to cut one hell of a promo. I don't know if it's going to be via satellite or it's going to be in the arena, but I cannot wait to see what Sasha got in store. But at the end of the day, this show was terrible. It's that simple. Raw was awful tonight, and I'm going to be honest, man. I expect a 1.5 rating. I expect Monday Night Football to absolutely demolish the Monday Night Raw ratings. Until Vince is out of power, until changes are made, I continue to Raw not get any better. I'm tired of it. The same rinse and repeat formula, terrible. It's that simple. It's terrible. This show's awful. I don't know what else you guys want me to say. All right, but that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Thank you guys for joining me as always. No matter if you guys were watching on stream or on demand, you guys are awesome. Before you guys leave, as always, make sure to leave a like on the video. It helps me out a lot. Plus, it pushes the video out so we can educate more casuals who don't know what the hell they're talking about. So if you guys enjoyed the podcast, please leave a like as always. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe if you guys are new. Enable notifications by clicking the bell right next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you to everyone who live tweeted with me as always. If you guys want to tweet with me, follow me. My social media is in the description down below. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff. As always, guys, thank you guys for joining me. Go check out some of my other content. Some of the videos talking about, I did videos talking about Bayley's promo. Bayley cut a really good promo on SmackDown this week, and I talked about that in depth in a little bit of an extra segment of the podcast. I also did a bonus podcast last week talking about how WWE should book the Sasha Banks and Bayley feud from now all the way to WrestleMania 37. I gave you guys different scenarios on how that should be done. So go check out those videos if you guys haven't already. As always, guys, thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast. I'll keep you guys updated with everything going on with WWE throughout the week. Make sure to stay safe and healthy as we continue to go through these crazy times. I'll see you all later. Have a great day, guys. Peace.